Macmillan Audio presents The Two Popes by Anthony McCarten. Narrated for you by John Lee. For my parents, my mother, whose lasting wish was to ride around heaven on a motorcycle, my father, whose last instruction to me was to keep the faith, and for Eva, who showed me the view of Rome from the Villa Borghese. Prologue. On February 11th, 2013, a 700-year-old tradition was shattered. Pope Benedict XVI, former protector of doctrine and loyal heir of the long-suffering John Paul the Great, made a startling announcement. After 8 years in the papacy he would, owing to his advanced age, resign, but would retain the title of Pope Emeritus for his lifetime. Within weeks, the great doors of the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican were sealed, and the cardinals, drawn into conclave for the second time in less than a decade, were asked to choose a new spiritual leader for the Catholic Church's 1.28 billion followers. When the doors opened again a few days later, the charismatic Argentinian Jorge Bergoglio, who would take the name Francis, had been elected. The world, for the first time since the year 1415, had two living popes. The reasons for Benedict's cataclysm became fodder for speculation. A pope surely must die on the job. Wasn't this an integral part of the job description? Not just tradition, it was virtually dogma. As the Washington Post, citing a theological expert, explained, most modern popes have felt that resignation is unacceptable except in cases of an incurable or debilitating disease. That paternity, in the words of Paul VI, cannot be resigned. Pope Benedict's resignation was not entirely unprecedented, nor was the dilemma of two living popes. In the long history of the Church, 3 popes have now resigned, while 263 did not. Pope Gregory XII resigned in 1415, in the midst of a political struggle between Italy and France over who really controlled the Catholic Church. But we have to return to 1294, to Celestine V, to find a pope who decided, of his own volition, out of a longing for the tranquility of his former life, to step down. The reaction at the time to Celestine's bombshell was outrage. There is a passage from the 3rd canto of the Inferno, in Dante's Divine Comedy, where Virgil is guiding Dante through the gates of hell. Before they reach the Inferno, they pass into an antechamber, filled with a cacophony of agonizing cries of those miserable souls who lived a life without disgrace and without praise. In effect, people worse than sinners, who had failed to act, failed to believe, or failed to deliver on promises made. Dante stares at the doomed faces of the terminally bland until, at one point, he sees a man, and writes, "I saw and recognized the shade of him who made, through cowardice, the great refusal." That man was, of course, Pope Celestine V, whose defection so horrified the great Italian poet that he immortalized him in his magnum opus. So, knowing the outrage a papal resignation would cause, why did Benedict, the most traditional pope of the modern era, do the most untraditional thing imaginable? Poor health alone is not seen as a valid explanation. In fact, it has usually been an asset to a pope, in that it reenacts, for all to see, Christ's suffering on the cross. An additional mystery has to be sorted. How could this ultra-conservative protector of the faith, guardian of doctrine, even contemplate resigning when, as he very well knew, he would be surrendering the chair of St. Peter to the radical Jorge Bergoglio, a man so different from him in character and views? This book tells the tale of 2 popes, both possessed of tremendous and inalienable authority, an odd couple whose destinies converged and who influenced each other profoundly. Let us consider Benedict first.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?